I've got you. Do you have me?
Yes, awesome.
All right, let me arrange this so I'm actually in the frame. That would be good. Okay, wow, we pulled it off. Again, I'm just impressed every time this technology works.
I know.
I'm going to turn up my volume a bit so I can hear you a little better. Okay, good. We're good. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. So anyone who's watching who doesn't know, this is Eva Claire Synkowski of OptimizeMe Nutrition. She runs the nutrition portion of the private track for those that are lucky enough to be a part of that. And we're going to chat about what that is, what that means, handle some questions that are common questions. But before we do that, something unrelated to anything. I just started reading a book called The Boys in the Boat. Have you heard of that?
Oh, I've read that. Yeah.
You read it? Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone says it's fantastic.
It is.
And I feel like maybe you missed your calling as the girls in the boat, and maybe you should have been on like a women's Olympic rowing team.
I know. I had people in college coming up to me being like, you want to join rowing?
I'm sure heavily recruited by the rowing or volleyball is probably the two.
Correct.
Basketball, one of the continues. But rowing, there's plenty of women that can crush me in the rower, for sure. But women that I don't ever want to go against the rower on that I know for a fact, you, Samantha Briggs,
Correct.
and Katie Henniger.
Correct.
They're just devastating rowers. Okay, I'm off topic, so now I'm back on. So the nutrition track, so CrossFit Linchpin, obviously we put up free workouts every day. Enjoy them for as long as you want. Great. For those that want more, warm-ups, goal times, scaled, accessory work, videos, all that good stuff, access to be on the whiteboard. We have a private track for $10 a month. And that was how it was for a long time. And everything was great. And then I was just, listening to the community little by little, more nutrition questions kind of popped up. Like, the workouts are going great. I'm happy with all this stuff, but, fill in the blank with nutritional trivia question A, B, C, or D. And as that demand grew, I was like, this is not a demand that I want to handle, nor a demand that I know I am optimally qualified to handle. And so I reached out to one of the smartest individuals I know that's dedicated more hours to nutrition than anybody I know, which was EC. And that was kind of the birth of the nutrition portion of the private track for those that want to do it. So that's kind of where it came from. And it's been off and running ever since. And I'll kind of let you tell people,
yeah,
what does that entail? What's it all about?
Yeah, definitely. So you kind of started it just to answer all those questions, right? So people want to know, what about shakes, or what about protein after a workout, or what about keto, or what about dairy, gut health, you name it. And so we decided to kind of just approach this from an educational front, and to do 2 videos a week on your rest days, on Thursdays and Sundays, that are about 5 minutes, 8 minutes on a specific topic that's raised by the community. And it's different than, let's say, Beyond the Whiteboard has their macros track, or their way of tracking in the app. And that's great. That's one method to go about nutrition. But this is definitely more of that educational focus of, hey, all this stuff that you hear, how can you make sense of it? And kind of the answers to all of those questions. So it ends up being, let's see, 8 videos a month for an additional $10 on your private track.
And there's just a boatload of knowledge and education in there. And, I'm always very honest about when people approach about Linchpin. I say no to a lot more things than I say yes to. I might get this, hey, would you individually coach me? I want to be a competitor. No. The answer is no. Like, stay very true to what we do, which is real fitness, embrace scaling, intensity over volume, the everyday CrossFitter, like real life. I stay true to that. And what I liked about your stuff was, hopefully I'm not overstepping my bounds, but I see in nutrition there's multiple facets, but then some people, there's the teach me how to fish method, and there's the catch me a fish method. And some people are like, I want you to hold my hand every day of my life, take every fork full of food and put it into my mouth and say, this is exactly what you need to eat. And then that person never actually learns how to fend for themselves, Like, what happens when you're trapped in an airport? What happens when you're at a holiday dinner? What happens, like, fill in the blank, when, as life always does, it throws you a curveball. And if you don't actually have the understanding of how you should eat, why things work the way that they do, then you can't make good decisions. So I like your method was much more, I'm going to teach you how to fish rather than hand you a fish 3 times a day and tell you, what to do. So that was, and is that a good encapsulation, or am I off base on that?
No, totally. I mean, I think where we get lost is that people think there's this kind of one answer, and there's generally some principles that we all have to follow for sure. But then within that, we can have some of our own specificity. So I don't like to be too dogmatic and help people kind of wade through the waters themselves.
And you might be known for a lot of things, but definitely the hot topic these days is the 800-gram challenge. So correct. What is that, if somebody happens to be unfamiliar with it? Yep.
It's just focusing on making sure you're getting enough fruits and vegetables each day. So 800 grams by weight. And it doesn't matter which ones you choose. That's part of the being non-dogmatic. Like, if you don't like kale, go for the blueberries. And just trying to make sure we have this baseline level of quality in the diet.
And that's just getting people far away from processed foods instead of just living their life on, a box of Cheez-Its.
Correct. And that's the thing, is it doesn't restrict other foods beyond that. So it's also this idea that, like, no, we don't need a perfect diet, but we do have to have a good amount of quality in the diet first.
So we could talk for a very long time about just questions that roll in, because there is a never-ending stream of nutrition questions. But I've got a couple common ones that pop up every now and then. So I'll throw them at you, and you can just educate people a little bit. A classic one is nutrient timing. People are very concerned about, when exactly should I place the macronutrients in my mouth to turn me into a beast. So what's your take on nutrient timing?
Yeah, it's largely irrelevant. It's some great marketing, really helps sell some protein shakes, but it's pretty irrelevant. You want to focus on total quality across the course of the day. And I don't see that enough people are really consistent within plus or minus 5 grams of protein, carbohydrate, and fat. But they're already worrying about timing. It's like, how can timing matter if you're like one day 120 grams of protein and the next day 80 grams of protein? It doesn't, right? So let's get real consistent there. There's some very few cases where I'd start looking at it, but it really comes down to the person still having enough energy if they're going to work out multiple times that day. So focus on getting real consistent with total quantity first.
So it's almost like the fundamentals are important.
Shoot.
Craziness, crazy talk.
Darn it.
Another one, as classic as they come, is, hey, look, I'm thin, relatively thin. I'm in shape.
Okay.
Why do I need to focus on eating healthy? And by all aesthetic measures, look, I'm good to go.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a hard one to kind of convince people of it. I would make the comparison though, like, why would I do a deadlift with proper form? It's not necessarily that first deadlift with poor form that hurts you. It's the accumulated incidents that happen and then will lead to more injury, right? And so we see that play out with nutrition as well, that the body is robust and it's going to do a lot of what it can do with very limited things for some period of time. And then it starts to catch up with us. And there is some theories out there that some of our chronic disease is really micronutrient deficiency in the long term. And so, it's kind of this investment analogy. It's like, you got to put in the work now because it will show up a little bit later down line.
And I just saw one question rolled in as we were starting this, and I think this might be potentially a hot button topic. So I'm curious what you have to say. Somebody just said, I would love to hear her thoughts on a meatless diet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm actually great with a meatless diet. Generally, if you're looking at, I'm assuming they're a CrossFitter because they're on this. So we want to make sure you're still getting enough protein. And what happens with these vegetarian vegan sources, it's harder to get your total protein without also getting a lot of carbs and fat because of the sources, right? So you are going to have to really kind of look a little bit more and go for some of the vegetable protein powders or some tofu varieties that are higher protein, lower carb. And then really try to vary your sources so that you get all of the complete amino acids besides just the ones that are in just the bean source that you're looking at. But you can be very successful on a plant diet for sure.
Perfect. So it can be done.
Yes. Can be done.
Tell people as we wrap up, this is the promotional part. So like,
Right.
how can they get, what's your website, email, how can they get a hold of you? And then obviously if they're interested in signing up for the nutrition portion of the private track, just go to CrossFitLinchpin.com, click on private track, scroll down the bottom, and there's a sign up tab right there. So
Yeah.
how can they contact you or find out more information about you?
Right here on this handle, OptimizeMe Nutrition, and then on the same website, OptimizeMeNutrition.com.
I'm going to hit you with one more question
Yeah.
that just rolled in because
Awesome.
I recognize this individual's handle. They're a regular contributor. They say, if you have time, would love to hear your opinion on intermittent fasting.
Yeah, it seems
So
like
we'll wrap
fasting's
up with
back
that
around.
one.
Yeah, fasting is back around as another popular topic right now. Think about fasting as telling you when to eat, not what to eat or how much to eat. And so it really is secondary to making sure that you have quality and quantity in line. Now, sometimes it helps get quantity in line, but it really is secondary to first those other things. So you can do it, but it's not going to trump having a high quality diet and not eating too much.
And is there a general recommendation? Like, is it just as simple as, hey, I've never fasted, I'm going to skip breakfast every day? Or do I do it once every 3 days? Or what's the crawl, walk, run approach?
It can be as simple as that. And I think that would be a great place to start. Do the whole overnight fast where you stop eating at, let's say, 7 or 8 p.m. and then you don't eat till 10 or 11 a.m. next morning. I think that's a great way to try it. And I think don't be afraid to do it like once a week or even once every few weeks or once a month. I love to do it when I travel because there's such few options, right, in the airport. Yeah. But yeah, it's intermittent fasting. It's not perpetual fasting. So it's okay if we kind of like sprinkle it in. And there's a lot of people, I think, I forget it was with you last time or not, but people were talking about bonking, when they're fasting during their workouts. And I'm like, well, then don't fast. Then you already have your answer that's not the time for you, right?
Makes sense. Perfect. All right. Well, hey, EC, thanks. We'll do more of these for sure and keep sprinkling in some nuggets and some knowledge, answering some questions. But hopefully some folks reach out to you and they get them on a better nutritional track.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.